Why doesn't one crashed process take down your entire system? If all processes share the same memory with no boundaries, a single bug could corrupt data belonging to every other running program. The operating system prevents this through memory management, a set of mechanisms that control how physical RAM is allocated, isolated, and reclaimed across all running processes. That's what this video is about. Before the OS can manage memory, it needs to know what a process's memory actually looks like. Each process gets its own virtual address space divided into 4 segments. At the bottom is the text segment, your compiled instruction. It's read only, so a process cannot accidentally overwrite its own code. Above that is the data segment, which holds global and static variables. Then comes the heap. This is where dynamic allocation happens. Every malloc or new call grows the heap upward. Above that is the stack, which grows downward. Every function call pushes a new frame onto the stack. When the function returns, that frame is popped. The OS enforces a maximum stack size. Exceed it and you get a stack overflow. The heap and stack grow towards each other. The free space between them is what the OS manages. Now that we know what a process's memory looks like, the question is, how does the OS fit multiple processes into a finite amount of physical RAM? The early approach was contiguous allocation. Each process gets one continuous block of physical memory. The OS tracks a base address and a limit for each process. But this breaks down in 3 different ways. First, isolation. If you only use base and limit register, nothing prevents a buggy process from addressing memory outside its region unless the hardware checks every access. Second, fragmentation. As processes start and exit, free memory gets scattered in small gaps. New process might not even fit if the total free RAM is sufficient. Third, size mismatch. You have to decide how much memory to give a process at load time before it even runs. Too small and it crashes, too large and you waste RAM. These problems drove the need for better mechanisms, which we will get to. Fragmentation comes in 2 forms. Internal fragmentation happens when the allocated block is larger than what the process actually needs. The wasted space is trapped inside the process and the OS cannot give it to anyone else. This is common with fixed size allocation schemes. External fragmentation is different. Here, free memory exists in total, but it is scattered across non-contiguous gaps across the RAM. If a new process needs 25 KB contiguous and you have 3 free blocks of 12 KB, 10 KB and 8 KB, that's 30 KB free RAM, but the process still cannot load. External fragmentation is the harder problem. Paging, which we will cover shortly, is specifically designed to eliminate this. When the OS needs to assign a free block to a process, it has to decide which one to pick. 3 classic algorithms handle this differently. First fit scans from the start of the free list and pick the first block that's large enough. It is fast, it stops as soon as it finds a match, but the downside is that over time, front of the free list fills up with small leftover fragments that are too small to be useful. Second, best fit. It scans all free blocks and picks the smallest one that fits. The idea is to minimize wasted space per allocation, but it requires a full scan every time, and it tends to create tiny leftover fragments which are even harder to reuse than the ones first fit leaves behind. Third is worst fit, which takes the opposite approach. It picks the largest available block. The logic is that the leftover fragment will be large enough to still be usable. In practice, this just exhausts large blocks quickly, starving future processes that need contiguous space. In practice, first fit wins. It's fast and performs comparably to best fit on real workloads without extra overhead. Segmentation is a different approach to memory division. Instead of one contiguous block, a process's address space is split into named segments: text, data, heap, stack. Each segment has a base address where it starts in physical memory and a limit how large it is. The hardware checks every memory access against the limit, exceed it, and you get a segmentation fault. But segmentation brings back external fragmentation. Segments are variable size, and as they grow and shrink, the same fragmentation problem emerges in physical memory. Paging is the mechanism that actually solves external fragmentation. The core idea is to split virtual memory into fixed size pages and split physical RAM into same size frames. The OS maintains a page table per process that maps each virtual page to a physical frame. The process sees a contiguous address space in physical RAM. Those pages can be scattered anywhere. Because every page is the same size and every frame is the same size, any frame can hold any page. There are no gaps that are too small. External fragmentation is eliminated. Internal fragmentation can still occur if a process's last page is not fully used, but it is bounded by page size, which is typically 4 KB. Paging also connects directly to virtual memory. Pages do not have to be in RAM all the time. They can live on disk and be loaded on demand when a page fault occurs. What happens when RAM is completely full? Not just a page here or there, but every frame is occupied. The OS falls back to swapping. It picks a process, writes its entire memory image to disk into a region called swap space, and reclaims that RAM for another process. When the swapped process is scheduled again, it gets loaded back into RAM. This is a last resort. Writing and reading an entire process's memory to and from disk is expensive. It's important not to confuse swapping with demand paging. Swapping moves an entire process to disk. It is coarse-grained and high latency, whereas demand paging moves individual pages on a page fault. It is more fine-grained and low latency. Modern operating systems lean heavily on demand paging and treat whole process swapping as an emergency measure. That's it for today's video. I hope you now understand all about memory management in operating systems. If yes, then please do like this video and comment down if you have any questions or if you want me to cover any other topic. Subscribe for more such content. See you in the next one.